Hey guys, welcome back to another video with Mrs. Hill. Today I'm going to show you how to write decimals and fractions as percents that are greater than 100% or less than 1%. These are unusual type of percents. Most of the time in real life when we see percents, they're out of 100, usually between 1 and 99 or 100%. So these are rare, unusual examples. Let's take a look. So here we have a decimal, 1.68, and we want to write it as a percent. As we've already learned, taking a decimal, writing it as a percent, is the same thing as multiplying by 100, since all percents are out of 100. We learned the shortcut of simply moving the decimal 2 times. I'll show you. 1.68 multiplied by 100. We add our 2 zeros here because we'd be multiplying by the 1. 8 times 1, 6 times 1, 1 times 1. You can see it's 168. So multiplying by 100 is always easier to just move the decimal 2 times to the right. So 1.68 is 168%. So if ever you see a decimal and there is a whole number, just know it's going to be more than 100% if you're changing it to a percent. If you have a small decimal and you want to write it as a percent, same process. You're just going to simply move that decimal 2 times to the right. It's like multiplying by 100. So if we move it 2 times to the right, we're going to end up with 0.75%. And like I said, this is very unusual to have 0.75%. You wouldn't get these type of results on math tests, for example, but they do happen in real life. So 0.75, very small percent. Why don't you try changing some decimals that are more than a whole or that are very small decimals, turn them into a percent for me using the method I just showed you. Pause the video and unpause it when you're finished, and we'll go over those answers. All right, so let's take a look. Just to recap, to change a decimal to a percent, we simply move the decimal point 2 times to the right. Because it's like multiplying by 100. It's a shortcut way of multiplying by 100. So hopefully you move this 1, 2, and you got 250%. 2.5 is 250%. Move this one 2 times and you get 0.4%. Very, very small percent. This is 0.0016 or 16 ten thousandths. We move the decimal 2 times, we end up with 0.16%. All right, check your work. Make sure you bring writing all this down, you bring all these notes to class. Here, let's look at a real life example here. Okay, so here we have the cheetah, the fastest land mammal in the world. The peregrine falcon is the fastest bird in the world. Its speed is 2.1 times as fast as the cheetah. Write this number as a percent, okay? So we want to just write this 2.1 times as a percent. How much percent faster is that falcon than the cheetah? So we're going to take the same process. Just move the decimal 1, 2 times to the right. So that means this is 210%. That means that falcon, the peregrine falcon, is 210% faster than the cheetah. Pretty cool. Try this real life problem. The slowest land mammal is the sloth. Its speed is about 0.0016 or 16 ten thousandths that of a cheetah. Write this number as a percent. Pause the video and try this one. Okay, again, we're just moving the decimal 2 times to the right. So that would be 0.16%. So that's how the sloth compares to the cheetah, slowest land mammal. Okay, now let's look at writing fractions as a percent. We already talked about this, but again, now in this video, I'm showing you examples of fractions and decimals that are greater than a whole. So here we have 1 and 1/4 as a percent. I'm going to show you two methods. Take a look at what it says up here. This is method number 1. To write a decimal as a percent, you simply multiply by 100 or take the shortcut, moving the decimal 2 times, and add a percent sign. To write a mixed number as a percent, first write the mixed number as an improper fraction. Okay, this is not my preferred method, but I'm going to show you anyway. So what I would do is first I would write 1 1/4 as a mixed number. And remember to do that, as an improper fraction. This is already a mixed number. So to do that, I'm going to multiply the whole by the denominator and add the numerators, because what I have here is 4/4 and 1/4. So that would give me 5/4. That's my improper fraction. Now I'm going to try to turn it into a fraction out of 100, because all percents are out of 100. So once I can get my fraction out of 100, I can write the percent. So 4 times 25 is 100, and 5 times 25 is 125. So I have my fraction out of 100 now, which means that 125 is my percent. So all I did is I changed the mixed number to an improper fraction. Then I wrote an equivalent fraction. Remember, this is equal to this. I didn't change anything. But I made the denominator 100 so that I could figure out what the percent was. All percents are out of 100. So that's method number 1. My preferred method is to just take the whole number and note that that is the 100%. So for example, if I have one whole, I know my answer is going to be 100 something percent. Let's say I had 2 1/4. I know my percent is going to be 200 something percent. So you don't have to make it an improper fraction. What I would do is I'd take that whole. I know it's going to be 100 something percent. And the 1/4, well, we probably know this by now, that 1/4 is 0.25. Remember, 1/4 is like 25 cents, a quarter of 100. But if you didn't, you could do what we just did, write an equivalent fraction. 4 times 25 is 100. 1 times 25 is 25. So 1/4 is 25%. So I'm just going to add on the whole, 125%. I just don't think it's necessary to turn the mixed number into an improper fraction. If that makes sense to you and you want to use that method, that's great. But hopefully you can see the shortcut. If you have a whole, then that's going to be in your hundreds place. Let's look at what happens if you have, say, a 2-digit whole number. Let's say you have 12 1/5, for example. Well, then I know this was my 100, so this is going to be my 1,000. So I'm going to have 1,200 something percent. Just know that whatever digits are here, you go in the hundreds and thousands and on and on. You can have really big percents. And then 1/5, I would turn that into a fraction out of 100. And you might have memorized this one. 5 times 20 is 100. 1 times 20 is 20. So this is 1,220%. So 12 1/5 is the same as 1,220%. Okay, you try some. Try these two problems. Write each mixed number as a percent using either of the two methods I just showed you. Pause the video. When you're finished, unpause it and we'll go over them. Okay, as we're becoming more proficient with fractions and decimals and percent, more and more of these are going to pop out at you as easy. You're going to start memorizing some of them, and maybe that happened as you were doing these problems. All right, well, hopefully you noticed the two wholes. So we're going to have 200 something percent. Let's add that something. And we've got 9/10. Well, 9/10 is the same thing as 90/100, right? Hopefully you saw that 9/10 right away, you knew was 90. So 2 9/10 is 290%. Second one, again, we're going to have 300 something percent because of the 3 wholes here. And we've got 2/5. You may have memorized that one as well by now. We know that 1/5 is 20%. 2/5 is 40%. It's 40 out of 100 because 5 times 20 is 100, 2 times 20 is 40. So 3 2/5 is 340%. Did you get that one right? All right, bring all these notes to class tomorrow and we will practice converting fractions and decimals to percent that are greater than 100 or less than 1%. I'll see you then.